Hey everyone, this is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row. Thanks so much for listening to the following broadcast, courtesy of Public House Media.
This is Jordan Butler, host of Head Over Heels, here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Head Over Heels, where we talk about everything the Miss America organization. A new show comes out bi-monthly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Head Over Heels. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Yo, 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 and hello, everyone. Welcome to Hollywood Happy Place. I am Jerry Strauss. So great to have you join us this time out. We have got a great conversation for you this episode. We are going to be talking to one of my favorite people that I have ever interviewed. We did something some time ago for Natural Awakenings magazine. And it's great to connect with her one more time. Probably the first of many on this show because there's always something new to talk about. If you are a fan, and whether you admit it or not, you had to have at least at some point back in the day checked out Baywatch. And this young lady, still young lady, is definitely one of the staples of that show throughout its run. Alexandra Paul, who played Lieutenant Holden, I believe it was, Stephanie Holden. But she is just an awesome lady, a very, very smart lady, and a very conscientious lady as well. You're going to hear us touch on so many things she's involved in. Someone who has basically dedicated the second half of her life, she has said, to helping others and fighting for causes that she believes in, and some of the physical extremes that she goes to in the name of fitness, in the name of health, and in the name of activism. Hey everyone, this is Christian Heimel,
host of Press Row. Thanks so much for listening to the following broadcast, courtesy of Public House Media.
She's going to talk a little bit about it, and certainly if you Google her, go to her website, follow her on social media, you're going to get even more of an update on some of the crazy things that she's been doing in the name of helping animals, and just a hero in my eyes. I mean, you know, most of us usually have maybe an inkling here and there of, I should do this, or that's not right, or it'd be great if that changed in this society. But she is out there on the front lines with absolutely no regrets, absolutely no holding back, despite the fact that, you know, she is a recognizable public figure. Doesn't care. She's out there in the trenches doing what she believes in. We're going to talk to her about that, about her unbelievably positive attitude, and so much more. Thank you for all of you who've been checking us out. Of course, we are now a big part of Public House Media. Shout out to the team at Public House. And we are coming at you on iTunes, Google Play, Alexa, Stitcher, all the big guns. So hopefully you're catching us on one of those. But wherever you may go, wherever you may find us, and of course, HollywoodHappyPlace.com, not a bad place to start either. But make sure you subscribe. It's the easiest way to just automatically get every episode, everything we put out on a weekly basis, any bonus content that we put there, the archives. Get access to all of it. Easy. Make it easy for yourself. Subscribe. If you got a second, go on iTunes and give us a rating. That never hurts, you know. If you love us, if you think we're a 5-star show, give us a 5-star rating. You know, your support, your voice is so appreciated, and we thank you so much for checking us out. So without further ado, and again, you can follow us on social media as well. So you can check us out on Twitter at I believe it's HH Place, and check out our Facebook page. We're all over the place. Find us, hang out. It'll be fun. No more waiting. Alexandra Paul on the flip side, here on Hollywood Happy Place. how have you been? You sound like you're having a great day. Is that something that people can easily tell from the sound of your voice? Is it as hopefully as effervescent and transparent as I think it is?
Oh, well, I am having a very good day. It's nice to talk to you. But I do believe that if you sound happy, then you will naturally be even happier. So I do try. I actually do make a concerted effort not to speak negatively a lot of the time, because I feel like we can choose from a million things. And so why not talk about the good things?
That's really interesting. You know, I watched a video, like a 3-minute video this morning. It was a corporate video. I think it was from Fast Company magazine, but it talked about the simple idea of when you look at a child's report card, and they gave an example of like 2 A's, 2 B's, and an F, that our line of thinking for most people is to focus on the F and, oh no, there's an F. What do I need to do to improve that? When really in a lot of ways we should be focusing on, okay, what did the kid get an A on, and what are the things that are being done right there, and how can we apply those lessons then to improve upon the weaker things? And it's something that they talked about, a thought process that can apply to your work life, your professional life, and your personal life. It's so easy, but sometimes you just need these things said for you, and really that's another one, just focusing on speaking more positively. Do you find that kind of then colors your world in a more positive light day to day?
Oh, for sure. Like my husband and I don't speak badly of him. I just don't. I don't even articulate things that I don't even know what things I don't like, because I don't even pay attention to them. Because there's so many great things about him, and he does the same for me, and it's why we've been together for 22 years, and I still think he's perfect. Because I just don't. We just express gratitude about what we see as wonderful, and I really focus 90% on that, on the good things. And it really works. It really works, because I'm crazy about my husband. I know he's crazy about me. And so I think a lot of things is that we choose. And I see myself choosing to stay in certain places, have a certain decision about how I feel about something, and I can stay in that. And sometimes it's not positive, and it's because it's giving me something. Like, what is it giving? Is it making me feel superior if I can say something negative about somebody else? Or is it making me feel like I don't have to take responsibility if I'm down on myself? You know, I'm not good at this. Then I don't have to take responsibility for doing it. So I do tend to, if I do get negative, which isn't very often at all, I do have to ask myself those questions, like, what is it giving me? Because humans, everything we do gives us something. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. Even addictions, when we say, I want to give up this addiction, no, you have to ask first, what is it giving me? Before you can really tackle it. But Jerry, I think you know, but I have my own health coaching business. And it's interesting that you started off this conversation about looking at the positives, because coaching does exactly that. We look at people's strengths and work from there, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, which is a lot of therapy. And I've had a lot of therapy, and we talked a lot about what went wrong and how to fix it. And in coaching, we look at what's going right and how can we perpetuate it? Why is it going right? What did you do to make it go right? And that helps us apply those skills to all areas of our life.
I just want to take a moment and console all of the probably involuntarily sad and jealous people listening right now who are just realizing that there is a gentleman out there who is not only married to one of the most beautiful stars of Baywatch, is one of the most beautiful stars of TV of all time, but also is in a marriage where said woman refuses to say or think anything negatively about him. That is causing a lot of tears in beers and nuts right now. But I mean, it's a great way to.
And some people would say that I'm in denial. And I would say, yeah, I choose to, we have it, like I said earlier, we have so many things to think about one person. So why not just pack it with good stuff instead of filling it up with negatives? And so, and you know, and it becomes your reality. It actually becomes your reality.
Well, I mean, I guess it's really the idea of taking control of your own perception of life and what you choose to focus on, and to an extent, the way you choose to approach and emotionally feel. I mean, the way, I guess it's basically the lens that you choose to wear on your glasses day in and day out. And I think that certainly sounds like you've chosen well, because, you know, very healthy is the way I would describe your approach. Is that something that you find a lot of in your health coaching, as far as the mental and emotional aspect of it, that is a big factor in why people are not healthy, either mentally, emotionally, or maybe even physically?
Well, what I find in my coaching is that one of the things that I ask my clients when I do my coaching on the phone. So when we get on the phone, I say, hi, tell me something good that happened this week. And invariably, even clients that have had a long time will go right to what they didn't do that they promised they would do about their health. Or even if I say, well, what went well with your goals that we set last week? And they will go to the negative. They'll say, well, I did this, but I also did this, and I didn't do this, and I was bad at that, and it will take over. And there's actually, humans have something called a negativity bias, and it's entrenched in us biologically, because when we were on the plains hunting saber-toothed tigers and things, it didn't behoove us to look through the world with rose-colored glasses. I probably would be dead by now, because I was been eaten by a saber-toothed tiger that I thought looked like a sweet little kitty. So there is something called the negativity bias that we are probably ingrained with biologically, that did help keep us alive a long time ago, but really we don't need now, and actually might be killing us with its negativity. Right.
I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, do you think that when you work with different clients who obviously know you and know who you are and probably know quite a bit about you to some extent, not that you're trying to do it, but do you feel like there's almost a little bit of an intimidation factor because they know just how disciplined you are? I mean, we've spoken before, and, you know, we talked before about how, you know, many people who've found this podcast may have done so by reading some of the interviews I've done in Natural Awakenings, including with yourself. And we talked about some of your superhuman feats of athleticism and strength that you voluntarily embark upon, you know, swimming miles and miles in the ocean and doing all these insane things that, you know, most people wouldn't ever dream of. Do you think people kind of go, whoa, okay, I got to at least sound like I'm on my P's and Q's when I talk to her?
Well, I hope not. And actually, some of my clients don't know, at least in the beginning, about my acting background, because they go straight to my coaching website, and a lot of them don't read very deeply into it, so they might not know who I am. And some people come to me because they have read about me, and so they go through that way. But I can think of one gentleman just a couple months ago. I've been working with him for quite a long time. And because I don't talk about myself in the sessions, it's about my clients, he didn't know. So I don't think I think what we want when we work with a coach is we want somebody who embodies partly what we want. We want to sort of look up to them. But I'm also very honest about my own struggles. I mean, there's a reason I became a coach, and that was because I myself struggled a lot with food when I was growing up, and I think we've probably talked about it, that I was anorexic and then bulimic when I was in my 20s. And it took a lot of, so I understand people who struggle with trying to be healthy. And that's the real reason I became a coach, is because I want to help people who felt that that pain and being out of control. And I want to help them get happier about themselves and their health. So I am honest about that. And I do talk about my vulnerabilities there too. So I think they're not, I think they're less in awe of me. And I actually have one client who does tell me, wow, it's really good to know that you have this, struggle too, Alexandra, because I always thought y'all were just perfect. And I say, no, we're all the same. Humans we all struggling. There might be a different package, but that we come in, but we're all struggling in some issues and learning. And so I just want to impart what I've learned myself.
Well, it's interesting that you've embarked upon this journey of helping other people. And I mean, I was looking at your website and your blog again a bit this morning, and you had written somewhere the fact that in general terms, your big focus in the second half of your life, which based on your level of fitness, I can't imagine you've hit that yet. I'm pretty sure that you're still in the first third of your life. You're going to outlive our grandchildren. But I mean, your general focus through your activism, through this, is to help other people in different ways. And I thought that was so interesting because so few of us really have, well, A, the opportunity, and B, perhaps the initiative and the passion to truly step out and dedicate themselves to that much to helping other people, especially in situations, as far as your fight against overpopulation, your animal rights work that you've done. These are things where maybe the results of your labors aren't necessarily going to show up the next day. Do you find that it's a challenge as you go from month to month and year to year in fighting these wars to keep yourself motivated because you don't have those payoffs showing up on a regular basis? Does it feel like your work is going anywhere?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question. First, I want to address your comment that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to dedicate so much time to what my personal goal is, which is alleviating the suffering of animals and people. And I am very lucky in that way. There's no doubt that I worked a lot as an actress, and that has given me some breathing room in terms of working for a living. And also, I don't have children, so I just have my perfect husband. So I have a lot of time. So I am really, really lucky, and I'm full of gratitude about that. I'm sorry, but let's be real here. I mean, also the world should show as much gratitude to you, because quite frankly, I'm sure the majority of people in a situation such as yours would be lying on a beach somewhere. They wouldn't necessarily say, I've got the time and this is what I'm doing with it, but you are. So you should certainly be proud, and we should feel, proud of you for choosing that direction. But I mean, and again, it's to me since I was a kid. Yeah, since I was a kid, I always got a sense of self-identity. That was sort of my identity. But going back to your question, because what I'm working on are things like animal rights and human overpopulation, and the fact that I feel like the birth rate is growing too fast and too much. Those are long-term things. I'm not just trying to, raise money for a certain entity, and then once you raise the money, you've done it. I have always been the turtle. I have always never had very fast twitch muscle fibers. If I could use an athletic metaphor, I've always been very slow twitch. And so I've always enjoyed choosing these kind of things that are just slogs. But the great thing about it, remember I said earlier that we don't do anything without it being an advantage to us, is that I get a lot of fulfillment from the volunteer work I do in the moment. because I meet incredible people. Just last night, I happened to go to two things last night. One was to be a de-escalator in case city of Santa Monica, near where I live, has had a problem with white supremacists interrupting a group called the Committee for Racial Justice. So they asked for people to help them protect them from that. So I am one of the volunteers who goes every month and stands outside in case there should be white supremacists that try and disrupt the meeting. So I was there last night, and there was no disruption of the meeting. But like there had been in July and August, the last 2 months have been quiet because of people coming and standing in front and making sure that people can't disrupt the meeting. But I had a wonderful time talking to my fellow de-escalators there. And then after that, I went to a vigil for pigs who are on their way to slaughter. We stand outside a slaughterhouse, and when the pigs come up to be brought into the slaughterhouse, we give them their last water and basically bear witness to the fact that this is what happens every day, all over every minute, every second, and the lovely people who are there who just want to love animals just touches me. So even though they're the long term, I hate using war metaphors, but it seems our language is so full of them. The long term war, like you said, I haven't seen. It hasn't been won. The actual working on the issues is very, very fulfilling. The actual day-to-day just being with other activists makes me feel good. And hopefully we're moving forward. We are moving forward, I know, on both issues.
I think it's really inspirational, not only just the drive and the passion that you have, but I think a lot of the specific issues that you are active within or against or whatever the case may be are things that a lot of people may not necessarily know. So I mean, I encourage everyone to go and check out Alexandra's website and her social media and, follow her as much as possible and everything that she's doing as much as she'd like you to know, because I mean, it's all stuff that I think is helpful for all of us to at least understand that these issues are out there. I mean, I had never heard of a pig slaughtering vigil. I did not know that existed until you just explained it. And it's just amazing that there are all these outlets for people to kind of, if nothing else, at least care. And I think it's great that you're out there exploring that. I wanted to ask you about something, and I've struggled with how to do it because this show is about positivity. It's about avoiding all of the stuff that's weighing on our shoulders day in and day out, everything we hear and see on the media or in the media that is practically inescapable. But you are a woman who has been very successful and active in show business for quite some time. And of course, that is a category that has been very much in the news lately. And I don't want to get bogged down with hardcore stuff about things that you've experienced necessarily in your career as far as harassment and everything that has been coming out of the closet, so to speak. But I do want to ask this, because I recently had a conversation with another actress who's been around and working for quite some time. And she talked about how, in addition to the more heavy things that allegations and things that we've heard and experiences that people have brought to light, there's a more underlying issue perhaps in the show business world, which is that maybe on the set of a TV show or a movie or whatever the case may be, it's almost like the rules are a little bit different. Like she kind of explained how a lot of sets she's been on have inherently been, quite frivolous and flirty. And she basically said that she herself potentially could be conceived as being a harasser based on the way that she acted in her younger days. Now, you worked on Baywatch, which is basically a show of a lot of young, good-looking people who are, just presumably, hopefully having some sort of fun all those years you were making the show. Do you feel like that might have been the case on a show like that, where it wasn't necessarily always harassment that revealed itself in sadistic, evil ways, but was there just sort of different standards in an environment like that?
Oh, gosh. So it's such a complicated issue, sexual harassment, because there's several levels. There's the powerful boss who then uses his or her power to get some sexual favor. Okay.
Sure.
That's by the way that I remember, or that just is not happened to me in Hollywood. I have been touched inappropriately by men. One was a chiropractor, and I was my first time ever at a chiropractor, and I didn't know that wasn't supposed to do, but I kind of felt it was wrong. But what I see is that I need also to speak out, and I don't know if in Hollywood, I know in Hollywood they have sexual harassment meetings where all the crew have to have some training, but since I'm a cast member, I have never been asked to go to one of those, which is right, because I think we all should go. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I did have one series a pilot that I did where there was somebody else on another actor who had much more seniority than I. It felt like there was going to be a problem. And I was actually glad when the pilot didn't go because I was concerned. But I also saw that I never told him, don't do that.
Right.
He would kiss me on the lips, and there was something weird, but I never said, don't kiss me on the lips, because I was afraid of making him feel uncomfortable, and I didn't trust my own gut. It's a lot of what these women are talking about when they explain why they didn't confront any of their harassers. So I understand it. I think women need to be taught how to speak up, because it's not fair to the man the first time he does it. If I don't say no, why wouldn't he do it again? If it's sort of a nebulous, if there's a nebulous hierarchy, like this guy was essentially my equal, but I felt I was slightly intimidated by him. He might not have known that. So, but Baywatch, I did not feel that occurred for me, but
no.
And flirtation, yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, I guess I could have, in a hierarchy, the actors have, in a power structure, we have more power than an extra, for example. Did I ever flirt with an extra? I mean, probably. If that extra didn't say, hey, don't talk to me like that, I don't even know if I did anything wrong. So I think people need to speak up, and women need to speak up too, except for I understand that it's really hard when the power dynamic, when you're afraid that you're going to lose your job. So I don't think I even answered your question, Jerry. All I can say is that I believe that this kind of sexual harassment happens in all industries, not just Hollywood. And that I know that I'm very touchy-feely. Like if I met you, I would give you a hug, because we've talked and emailed so many times. I feel like, that we are certainly acquaintances, right? And I would give you a hug because I would see you. So, but to some people that might be that would be considered invading your personal space and too forward. So it's hard to know.
It's interesting. I mean, I always liken it, or have been since all these talks started, to, I mean, even going as far as players on the football field. You do great. Maybe you smack your teammates' butt. That's not something that's cool in the office. But it's all so subjective and situational. And again, this has nothing to do with some of the more insidious stories that we've heard. That's a different level of things. But I do feel like there's almost this level that needs to kind of just be open to more discussion and communication. And maybe it's the idea of just where people's comfort levels lie and making sure that all becomes more open to everybody and people are respectful of that.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we don't demonize someone who asks, hey, what about if I do this with this, and that people don't attack that person for asking, hey, what if I want to give you a hug, or what if I slap you on the butt because, you know, you've been my friend for 3 years in the office. Is that bad?
Yeah.
I think it does need to be discussed, and the boundary. I don't even know where the boundaries are. I mean, I say that to my husband. I don't really know where the boundaries are either. I do know that for me as a woman, that I need to speak up, and I haven't when I feel uncomfortable with what somebody has just said. And to me, if someone did a dirty joke, that wouldn't make me feel uncomfortable. But it does to other women. And if it's not about that woman, if they're not making fun of her, then, I'm confused. I feel I have empathy for men right now, because I think that the scrutiny is really on them, and it must be a very hard place to be. And I think we also have to widen it, and also ask what is women's responsibility here to clarify what is acceptable and not acceptable. I mean, how do you feel, Jerry? You're a man.
I feel the same way as you, in that I feel like, luckily, I'm not really in a position of having a lot of attention. I mean, it's a whole different world, I guess, if you have people in this world who follow your career and watch you and are actually paying attention to things. The stakes just get that much higher. But it's really just a matter of, I guess, at this point, especially erring on the side of caution, making sure that you don't do anything that you don't know is totally cool at any given time. That's, abstinence is the only way to be 100% safe. So you have to be abstinent from anything that could be potentially offensive at all. That's really the only advice.
Yeah, but that's horrible. That seems like a dictatorship or something that we would be under, because we're so afraid of making a wrong move.
Right.
It sounds terrible. So maybe a year from now, things will have sorted itself out, and the culture will have figured out a new line. Because it feels like there's a new bar now, that men really have to be more sensitive to how they approach women sexually, even if they have good intentions, like they actually like the woman and would like to have a relationship with her. And women have to, instead of somebody like Harvey Weinstein, who just wanted to exert power and have a sexual relationship that was just all about him, or at least that's the impression that I got. So. Hopefully in a year things will be more clear, so we can talk then.
Hopefully. And I hate to say this, but we're actually I can't believe it, we're nearing the end of our time here, and I know we had more to talk about, and I know you've got something that you can't talk about, but you can talk about it soon. So maybe when you've got more that you are able to talk about and say, we can have you back and we can talk about that. Is that all right?
Oh, yes. Well, I have two things quickly. I just, one is I am doing a movie in December, and I have something that's playing on Lifetime right now called Baby Naps. But I do have something coming out. It's an activist experience that is basically part of my activist life that is coming out this week, which we could talk about next time you and I speak, and I hope it's not the last time that we speak. No.
Likewise, definitely. Before I let you go, let's give it out one more time. Where out in the world, in the world of the internet, would you like people to focus on so they can follow all of the do-gooding? Is that the all the great things that you're doing?
What's funny is that I'm now posting more on Facebook, so I'm Alexandra. Oh God, you asked me for all my URLs, and this is where I really fall down. But I can be found on Facebook under Alexandra Paul. I'm pretty sure. I'm wearing an orange T-shirt with "Mean People Wear Fur," I think is how you know it's me. There's a lot of other sites and everything. And then my coaching, I'm at Alexandra Paul Coach on Facebook. And also Alexandra Coaching is my website, and my acting website, which I haven't, it's funny. I need to add more to that, because I'm adding more to Facebook, and then I forget to go to my acting site. But people who are new to that will see a lot of photos, and I have a lot of photos for my activism, my recent activism too, at alexandrapaul.com. And then I'm also on Twitter. But I basically repeat on Twitter what I have on Facebook, so you don't need to go to all of them. How do you do it? How do you keep it up with it all, Jerry?
I don't know. I shirk my more important duties and my family, but they'll forgive me someday. But hey, it'll be great to look forward to then speaking to you again, because it's weird. We just talked, but now I'm already looking forward to when we can catch up on the things that you were then able to talk about. And we'll call it Alexandra Part 2 for Hollywood Happy Place, the sequel. Awesome.
Awesome. I look forward to that, Jerry. I'll send you something. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great to talk to you.